by in football is not acceptable, especially losing this like this. Yeah, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. I don't think that people appreciate, none of us appreciate this loss the way it was, but I know Coach Prime is definitely frustrated. But what was more glaring in this game was to see the frustration of the coaches. It was very clear that the coaches were very frustrated, and I don't know, maybe on Well Off Media we'll see what was said in the locker room on that channel with Bucky, Deion Sanders Jr., giving us some insight into what was going on in the locker room after this game. I'd like to know what did Coach Prime say? What is he going to say when they get back to Boulder? How is practice going to be? Another thing that bothered me in this game, and I believe in being honest over here, is that the tackling. I saw too many guys missing tackles. I saw too many instances where guys had a tackle and somehow they let the guy slip away. That was another glaring issue in this game, was tackles that were missed. Everybody in the chat room, I want you to write your statements because I want to read them and get your thoughts. Ken says, it's only one loss. We will bounce back. Thank you, Ken. That's the reason why I had made the statement in the thumbnail that they'll have to regroup. Let's go over to my man. The referees were trash for both sides. Yeah, the officiating was terrible, but college football officiating is some of the worst officiating. You know, you think that the officials in the NFL are bad. These college officials are terrible. Remember, let me bring you back, everybody. Remember a few years back, not a few years, but maybe a decade or so, they had an NFL strike, and then they decided to play football games. No. Let me correct myself. The referees went on strike. The NFL referees went on strike, and they decided to hire college referees. And the college referees were horrible. I mean, the game was too fast for those college referees. And then you even had these college referees that were asking for autographs from the players, like Jerry Rice of the 49. It was terrible. And then the NFL had to get rid of them and give the officials what they wanted to bring them back, because college officials, specifically in football, are horrible. So you're absolutely right about that. Let's read some more statements here. DJ says that game would still be in the third quarter if they called all the holdings. Let's get right here. L. Bake says he got mad. Watch the replay. Glad we lost. Deflected heads. Now they can listen to beat CSU. Gain closure to preseason. Get ready for Big 12 and bowl game. Always rocking with Coach Prime, and thank you very much for saying that. Thank you.
Tell the truth.
I like that. Let's go right here to Professor A. Professor A, I like your avatar. I love your look. Obviously, you are a graduate. You have a doctorate degree. I went to college as well. Do you mind me asking what you have a doctorate or a master's degree in? That looks like a doctorate. Obviously, you're a professor. So what is your area of concentration? I work in mental health myself. I'm a rehab therapist, but I'm always glad to see people, people who have gotten higher education. Let me see here. Let me go. Austin says this. Yeah, I don't know about that man. What man are you talking about, Austin? Just let me know. And let me go to Maya. She says this. I got a question. Why won't they switch up the bench? It's always Shador, Travis, Charlie, and Jimmy Horn carrying the right. Woo! You took it away from me. I want to know. This is my question for you. Why is Hayden not running the ball more? Tell me that. Can anybody tell me in the chat room what is the status of Michael Welch? Can someone please tell me the status? What's going on with him? Why is this man not getting more than just 5 carries tonight? For only, let's look at this again. I have to look at this again, everybody. Bear with me. Hayden had 5 carries for 32 yards, 17 yards is his longest run. I said that earlier today, right? Isaiah, who they brought over, they got in the transfer, he only had 2 carries for 6 yards. Charlie had 4 carries for only 4 yards. Houston, there's a problem here. I'm sorry. If we're going to keep Shador upright, if Shador is going to be able to be successful so that he can compete with guys like Dylan, if we're going to be successful, you've got to keep teams honest with a running game. You have to. It's absolutely crucial to the success of this team going forward. It has to be crucial. It just has to be, ladies and gentlemen. Let me look at some more questions here. Ads come in and say, Shirley. Leonard Pan, learn to run the ball and adjust play calling for number 2 to distribute the ball successfully. Pan, I like what you just said. I'm not hating on what you just said. I like what you just had to say. Okay, we got Brian Fisher says, Prime don't believe in running the ball, and he has employed that multiple times, and the results show the same. Yeah, I get what you're saying. What do they say in psychology? And if you keep doing the same thing and getting the same results, and you keep doing the same thing, it almost leads to insanity, meaning they cannot continue to do the same thing that they did a year ago, which is get away from running the ball. See, this is the thing. When you're playing, tell me if I'm wrong or right. If you agree with what I'm about to say, put 7s in the chat room. If you agree with what I'm about to say. When you are, how can I say this? When you are playing in a hostile environment where it's loud, you use your running game to take pressure off of your quarterback, to get the offensive line to play physical. You want to get your offensive line playing physical. Most offensive lines are at their best when they're run blocking and opening up holes. So you use the running game to neutralize the fact that you're in a hostile environment to do what? Control the clock, control time of possession, keep the other team's offense off the field. Be patient with your running game to keep your quarterback from having to throw these deep passes into a wild environment. And by the time they got behind, just like last year, Shador, the offense became too one-dimensional at this point in time. And then the mistakes of poor tackling, the pass interference, guys not playing disciplined football by getting kicked out of the game for the way they were tackling, or at times not tackling. There were times where you clearly could see that Nebraska was able to run the ball right up the gut. The same problem they had a year ago. I still believe in the process, everybody. I still believe they're going to have to regroup for the next game. It is only the second game of the season, but you got to these habits. The bad habits are the lack of disciplined football that was played tonight can be contagious, where they do it again if they don't do something about it right now and nip it in the bud as they go on in the season. How many of you agree with me? Ed Houston said that Hayden showed signs of life with that line, so it can be done. The question is, will Prime not be primed or prone and just switch? Yeah, will his pride get in the way is what you're basically saying. Will he be pride and just switch it up on the running back depth? He needs to, Ed Houston, he needs to switch up. Ladies and gentlemen, he needs to switch up the depth chart. How many of you in the chat room agree that the depth chart needs to be regrouped? We've got L. Bake says true facts. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Blake Buys Houses says suck for word sounds a little better. Blake, let me know. What are your opinions? Let's talk football tonight. Me personally, I don't want to get emotional and start banging the table because it's only the second game of the season. We know that they got to clean some stuff up. Look, everybody. This is not an excuse, but Michigan, which was a ranked team today, just got their butts kicked by the Texas Longhorn. Michigan ranked, I think, 10th. I think Texas Longhorn might be ranked above them. A team that won a national championship in Michigan. They went into Texas today, and they got their asses handed to them. Can you believe this? I'm in California. Cal Berkeley went into Auburn, an SEC team. Cal Berkeley is in the ACC now. They went into Auburn and upset them. So what I'm saying to you is there's a lot of teams today, quality teams today, that got beat. So what I'm saying is this loss isn't a loss that says, oh, the season is over. They can't recoup from this. They can reboot from this, but they can't go into the game against CSU and bring the same bad habits and lack of discipline that they showed in this game. And the offensive line can't go into that game not giving Shedeur time. Thanks a lot, Pierce Brown. He says all facts. L. Bake says it takes time to build culture. We're building year 2. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. I misquoted. Michigan didn't play in Texas. Texas played in Michigan, and Michigan got their asses handed to them. Same thing I'm saying again. There's some good teams out there that can be beat any Saturday, any given Saturday, just like any NFL team can be beaten any given Sunday. The question is, will CU, Coach Prime, Robert Livingston, let me go in here. Will Robert Livingston, will they be able to clean this up? Matt Rule and his defensive coordinator, Tony White, they took it to us, y'all. And this matchup between Shedeur and Dylan didn't really, as his teammates said, oh, he's a beast. You guys will see on Saturday. Dylan didn't do anything that blew me away. He didn't do anything. He is not the reason why we lost the game. Not this man single-handedly. Shedeur did not get the protection that he needed for this offensive line that was put together over this past offseason. That consisted of Tyler Brown. I think Tyler Brown had a penalty called on him tonight. You could clearly tell that Jordan Seaton was frustrated a few times when you saw them showing the sidelines. Justin Mayers, they all were going through it tonight. Justin Mayers was going through it. Khalid Benson, they were all struggling on that offensive line. And we know that they could play better than that. The center, I think he was struggling some tonight as well, their center. And let me see. Let me read this super chat right here. I appreciate the super chat, too, that you just brought it. Super chat. Let me see. We got a super chat from, what's going on? My man, East. $10 super chat from Brother East. He says, we all support Prime, but it's time for a come to Jesus moment. You're absolute. Brother East Coast. Brother, I did not want to have a come to Jesus, but I agree with you that it is time for a come to Jesus. He goes on to say this, ladies and gentlemen, there's no more excuses. Prime needs to put Benson back at right tackle. Brother, I'll give you a clap.
Tell the truth.
Right, because I was under the impression that Tyler Brown was going to stay at guard. At least right guard? And I believe Justin Mayers plays left guard? Am I right or wrong? Tell me in the chat room. So you're right. Maybe the experiment, because I know Coach Phil said that Tyler Brown is the strongest offensive lineman that he has seen, pro or college. Now that's what Brother Phil said. Coach Phil, who played with the Minnesota Vikings when he was in the NFL. That's what Brother Phil said. Okay? And I'm going to read the rest of what you're saying here. You said Prime needs to put Benson back at right tackle, Brown back at center. At center or at guard? You're talking about move the center that we have right now, move him out of there, take him out of the starting lineup, move Brown to center. Interesting. Not guard, not right guard, but center. East also says, everybody, no more hiring your friends either. Prime was out-coached by, as much as I hate to say this, he was out-coached by Matt Rule. And as much as I hate to say this, Pat Shurmur was outmaneuvered by the defensive coordinator, Tony White of Nebraska. I got to tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I'm not saying that they can't bounce back from this, but we got to tell the truth. I want to thank you for your super chat, my brother. I give you a clap.
Thank you for the super chat.
Wow. Wow. The young lady, Maya, says facts. And, Professor, did I miss reading your statement about what is your focus as a professor? What's field of study? Maybe I missed that. Maybe I missed, let me see. We got Coach Cowley Sports Talk says this: Colorado used to run the ball more on pass lists, but they're so focused on quarterback stats to get him in the NFL running game is suffering. Coach Collie Sports Talk, do you really believe, I'm just asking the question, that Coach Prime and the coaches are more focused on trying to get Shedeur in the NFL when it's already a known fact that he's going to be a high draft pick, but they're more concerned about his stats than trying to win football games? I'm just asking the question. Please give me your synopsis. Coach Cali Sports Talk says Colorado needs to run more and pass less. Well, I would say, sir, they need balance. They need more balance than what they have displayed so far. Even though they beat North Dakota State, last week, they still need to display, in my opinion, more balance, meaning I don't think they should get away from the pass because that is obvious that that's really the strength of this football team is their receiving core and Shador throwing the ball. But to keep the defense honest, I'm going to say it again, to keep the defense honest, you need to employ the running game to create balance so that you're not so one-dimensional and so that the defense can't key on what you're doing and play you. They got to play you honest, meaning they have to be concerned. You want the linebackers to be concerned that you might run. You don't want the linebackers just to be able to set back and say, oh, they're going to pass. They're going to pass. Okay, we're going to play a little bit of zone. And another question I'm going to ask tonight is this defense of CU equipped to play man-to-man defense? Do they need to get into more zone coverage where they can disguise blitzes? Is the man-to-man defense not suitable? Now, before you answer that question, let me show you some stats here because I don't think that their cornerbacks did a bad job per se, but let's look at the stats right here. Oh, that's the defense. That's the receiving stats right here. Let's see it right here. By the way, Travis Hunter had 10 receptions for 110 yards tonight. His longest run was 28 yards. Didn't have quite the game that he had last week, even though he got 110 yards. Will Shepard had 3 catches for 59 yards, longest catch for 30 yards. Jimmy Horn went from having 198 yards receiving a week ago against North Dakota State to having only 3 receptions for 26 yards, 11 yards. He clearly was not able to get himself into this game in the way that needed to be. Because why? Because Shador was under duress. Now, when you look at Nebraska's receivers, you have Johnson and you have Isaiah, who got 5 catches for 37 yards. His longest reception for 16 yards. The other guy for receiver got 18 yards is his longest run after catch. So we got 2 receivers that got 49 yards. One got 49 yards. Isaiah, who's their best receiver, got 37 yards, and their tight end only got 1 catch for 13 yards. You can make an argument that the secondary did a pretty good job against their receiving core because nobody on their receiving core got over 100 yards or 100 yards, and nobody on their receiving core got a 60-yard run or got 100 yards receptions. So we can make an argument that our secondary, our cornerbacks did a pretty decent job keeping their receivers out of the end zone because only one receiver got a touchdown in this game, and that was Johnson. Their main receiver, Isaiah, number 18, he got no touchdowns. Longest run was for 16 as far as receiving. What do you guys think about what I just put on the board as far as those stats? And let me show some love again to Brother East. Thank you again for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
He says this: Tyler Brown was the center at Jackson State University. Thank you, sir. Player personnel at the correct player personnel at the correct position makes position matters. Let me correct myself. Brother East is saying that personnel at the correct position matters. Oh, and get Charlie out there. I don't want to see him again. Wow. That's to come to Jesus right there, man.
Tell the truth.
I wasn't feeling Charlie in this game whatsoever. They're going to have to make some personnel changes. They're going to have to make some personnel changes, unfortunately, in the defense. They've lost 3 key defensive guys. Shadozi, who's like a nose tackle, defensive tackle. They've lost to an broken elbow, I think. They've lost Shador Sanders. Didn't Shador already have problems with his shoulder or something? Man, now he's got a broken forearm. How long is he going to be out? We're going to find out. I think Trevor Woods is out hurt as well. I agree. They got to make some changes. I think it's time to see what that young man can do. Michael Welch, if he's available. It's time to give Hayden the Rock more. Let me see what people are saying in the chat room here. Correct. Charlie isn't it. Right. But my question to all of you, I know Charlie was a great practice player. I know Charlie was a walk-on. I know Charlie really was inspirational. I know Charlie works his butt off in practice, as they say. But even though he Charlie is sort of like the, remember that story at Notre Dame? What's that movie? What's that? You know the story I'm talking about, the guy who was a walk-on at Notre Dame back in the 70s. They did a movie about it, right? He was inspirational. He worked hard in practice, but he didn't have the physical talent. Charlie reminds me of that guy where he's a hard worker, but he may not necessarily have, maybe I'm wrong for saying what I'm saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. He may not have the God-given physical talent, but Charlie does work hard. But in this game tonight, it just wasn't. Charlie was not the answer. I want to see the Rock. I'm sorry, everybody. I want to see the Rock in this man's hand. The guy that's in it. I want to see the hands. This is Dallin. This is Hayden. Dallin Hayden. I want to see the Rock in this man's hand more. When he had a chance to run the night, even though he got 5 carries, when he had a chance to run the night, he showed you some flashes of what he can do. Let's be honest here. Lando says it's the same defensive plan every game. Ed Houston says, no, you're not wrong. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
And shame the devil. I don't want to punch, I don't want to punch down on CU, but Coach Prime and his coaching staff, they've got to make some adjustments. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to repeat this again. I don't believe that this offensive line is as bad as last year's offensive line. I just think they had a bad game. And the reason why I can say this is because we saw all the games of that offensive line last year and how bad they were. We had enough sample size. We had enough sample size to see how bad they were. This offensive line, as it has been assembled, we have not seen enough sample size to say, oh, this is a bad offensive line. However, I do agree with East on this, that maybe they might need to move guys to more of their natural position. And I must say this, the haters out there are going to say, you're making an excuse. But the truth of the matter is, the offensive line, when you bring guys together through transfer portal, recruiting, the one area of a football team that takes the longest to gel and to mush and to gain chemistry and trust with each other is the offensive line. Tell me I'm not lying. Tell me I'm telling a lie right now. Y'all know if you know football, then you know that to be true. The offensive line is the position on any football team, whether it be high school, pro, little league, it doesn't matter. It's always the offensive line that tends to struggle early in the season trying to get themselves together when you bring so many new faces together within a short time. And even though they're practicing and they've had spring camp and fall camp and all those sort of things, you may say, well, they should be together. Playing game day and game time is not the same as what you did in spring practice or even fall camp. It's not the same because you're playing against the real opponents now who have had time to study your weaknesses. Let's go back into the chat room and see what more people are saying here. Let me see. Jersey Fishing says most of the time your taller offensive linemen are tackles. That's right. Why do they have? Wow, good point. Khalid Benson at guard when he's a natural tackle, Tyler Brown at tackle when he's a... Sir, I am not going to say that you are wrong. The reason why I pause for effect, because you're telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
And as embarrassing as it can be, I must tell the truth. I must agree with what you're saying, as much as it hurts me to agree, because we would want these things not to be a problem, right? Here is Khalid Benson. You're absolutely right. When he was at Indiana, that's his Indiana team that he transferred from, number 67 was clearly playing a tackle spot. You're absolutely right. And to me, Tyler Brown is built more like a guard, a center guard, left guard, right guard. He's built more like a guard than he is a tackle. You're absolutely correct. And obviously, Jordan Seaton is built like a tackle. He's a tall kid. They got him at left tackle. I wonder if Jordan Seaton should be moved to right tackle, and Khalid Benson, who has more college experience, maybe Khalid Benson needs to be moved to left tackle. What do you guys think? What about Tyler Johnson, who came over from Houston? I'm just showing you what I got, folks. The youngsters that they have, Zachariah, Owen, these young men, they're not ready. These guys didn't even get much playing time. Patrick Kirkland didn't get any playing time with the Texas Longhorns. He's a young player. They're still probably trying to develop him. I don't know, everybody. What do you all think in the chat room? Let's go back in there. Sir, I'm taking my time tonight with these comments because I'm hearing football. What I like about the comments tonight is that nobody's getting into personal shots. Everybody is talking football. I like that. I want to hear football comments. I don't want to hear personal shot comments. Thank you, Fisher. Jersey Fishing. You got a YouTube channel? Sound like you got a fishing channel. Check out his fishing channel if he has one, folks. Jersey Fishing. You're talking football talking. I like that. Let's go to the next thing here. Jersey Fishing says, also with the side-to-side passing, we need to establish a run and go vertical. You're correct.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
You're telling the truth. Okay, Professor A is a professor of broadcast. You're in broadcasting, my sister? Or the broadcast is fire tonight? Thank you, if that's what you're saying. Thank you. Let's see who we have here. Darren says this, and it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Quit football. What do you mean by it's gonna get worse before it gets better? We've got Pierce Brown who says they have to make a change. Yeah, changes have to be made. Eddie, we got brother Eddie Pearson says, I agree, but remember Tyler Brown played tackle for Coach Prime at Jackson State. But let me ask you this question, Eddie Pearson. Thank you for coming over tonight. Do you think, or do you believe that even though Tyler Brown played tackle for Coach Prime at Jackson State, do you think he can play tackle at the Power 5 level? do you think that he might be better suited at this level of football, Power 5 football, which is totally different from the level that he played in? Do you think he might be better suited to play more inside as a guard, left guard, or right guard? Give me your honest opinion on that, Brother Eddie Pearson. And thank you for that additional information. Thank you very much.
Tell the truth.
Hello, D. A 1-11 season. No, I don't agree with that. Moving on. Darren says this. It's tough. It's a tough spot. It's a tough sport for the whole season. You're not deep. One guy gets hurt, they're down. Yeah. Now, Darren, let me ask you this question, sir. Coach Prime has been saying that they're deep at all areas. Even the coach at the defensive line said that they could go 3 to 4 deep. Like, they lost Shadozi tonight. I think he had his arm in a sling. We don't know if he's going to be able to play anytime soon. But do you where on this football team do you find that there's a lack of depth? Should I just ask you that more specifically? And we got Professor A who says, Lando, yes, got to keep personal and business separated. It seems like Coach Prime is intertwining the two. Elaborate on that more. I'm not sure what you mean. Let us know a little bit more. Let me see if I missed anybody up here. Larry had sent me a message a long time ago. Larry says maybe Sanders should spend the NIL money and the offense will play better. Spend the NIL money to get better players. Hello, D. How known now Colorado, we thought they are soft. Yeah, let's get that out of here. I don't have time for those type of comments. I want football talk. I don't want a bunch of just throwing shots. Talk football. If you're not talking football, let's see. Digital Con. See, that's not football talk right there. I want football talk. I'm only bringing up football talk. So Digital Communist says they're going to be 3-9 incoming for Buff. I'm not ready to say that yet. Too many games to play, too long of a season. We have to see where things go. Let's move on from that. Let me see. Matt C says, I agree with Professor. Coach isn't picking the best players. Instead, he's choosing who he likes personally off the field, in my opinion. That's how you feel? That's interesting. Eddie Pearson, no, he did not. He was a center. Can I show you? Oh, okay, wait a minute. Let's get this correct now. Wait a minute. Let's just do this. I'm going to do a simple Google search, right? Hang on for a minute, folks. Let's do a simple Google search. Tyler Brown, did he play center at Jackson State for Coach Prime? Tyler Brown does not think he have any trouble squatting 700. That's not what we're looking for. Yeah. He was a center. He played center. He played, there might have been look. There might have been a time when Coach Prime, let me ask you this question, East. Do you think there could be a possibility that Coach Prime may have played Tyler Brown at tackle for a small period of time, or maybe in one game because someone was hurt and maybe he had to move him from center to tackle for some reason because maybe somebody got hurt? This happens all the time, brother, in the NFL, in high school, college, where you have to shuffle your offensive lineman because maybe somebody's hurt. So now they play another position. Could that be a possibility for why people or someone or the gentleman who left that message that you disagree with said that, no, he played tackle. Could that be a reason why? Because you're clearly saying that, no, he played center, and I'm now looking this up, and he did say he did play center. Position. Let me look this up again. Tyler Brown did play center position at Jackson State. Woo, here it is. Yeah, looks like he did. That's what it's saying to me. Here go to Jackson State bio. I'm looking at it. I want to make sure I got this right. 6'3", 319 pounds. He was a sophomore. He comes from Louisiana, Lafayette. And yeah, he was a center. Yeah. Yeah, maybe he dabbled in a little bit of tackle as well. Anything's possible, you know? Anything's possible. You know that, folks. Let's get back in the chat room. Let me see. D3 missed says TB needs to move back to guard. So everybody is saying that he needs to go back to guard. Let me see what Jersey Fisher is saying. So the point is made. Tyler Brown should be inside. Khalid should be tackle. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Tell the truth.
Yeah. Let me see. He says that possibly, but he naturally played center and right guard. Okay, now we got some.
Tell the truth.
Okay. Darren says North Illinois, they have depth. And let me go right here. Seems everyone has CU game plan, and this is why teams are a problem. Prime is a motivator, but no coach. I agree that Coach Prime is a motivator. I'm not willing to say he can't coach because obviously he has position coaches around him who have coaching experience. It's not like Coach Prime is coaching this team 100 years ago when you only had one coach coaching every position, right? Nowadays you have Robert Livingston, NFL experience who's supposed to call the defensive play calls. Coach Prime doesn't call the defense. At least I don't think he does. You've got Pat Shermer, who's the offensive coordinator. You have Coach Phil, right? Let's just be honest here, folks. Let's just be honest, right? You've got Robert Livingston, like I said before, right? Coach Prime is the coach, and I know that the buck always stops with the head coach. I totally get that. And then you've got Pat Shermer, right? Who is, as I said before, the offensive coordinator. And then you've got Coach Phil, who is the offensive lineman coach. And then you have position coaches that are responsible to make sure that players get into the right position that they're supposed to be in, right? So I just wanted to bring that up that, yeah, he has people around him who might have more experience as coaches on this football team who have to also do their job as well. Would you agree or disagree with that, sir? Let me know. Jagged Higgins says Juju just crossed out CU off his list. How do you know that? Give me definitive proof. Just because they lost one game, that Julian is crossed him off the list. And right now, Julian is not who we need to be worrying about right now. He's still in high school. Right now, we need to be focusing on what's happening in the season right now with players that can actually play. Not Juju. He's going to do whatever he's going to do. Hell, everybody thought that he was going to go to USC, and looks like USC has moved on because he has not made any decision. So let's move on. All right. I'm only going to look at people who are putting football questions in here or football statements, true football statements. Let me see. Jersey Fishing says, Wester had a horrible game tonight. I hope he will bounce back next week. Yeah, he had some problems catching, dropping balls, he just wasn't in. Everything was different from last week because, one, they were playing against a better team in Nebraska. Two, the crowd was loud. The stadium was on fire. I think that energy in that stadium really, I don't think they were prepared for it. And not only did Shedeur have a bad game, not only Shedeur didn't have a bad game, but when Shedeur threw the ball to the guys that were open, like Wester, they weren't catching the ball. They weren't making the plays that were necessary. Right. And then I think a lot of wind was blown out of the defense when Shedeur, because remember, Shedeur is like the heart of that defense. He's the thumper. He's the intimidator. He's sort of an enforcer in that secondary at safety. And losing him was a big blow. Okay, let's not deny that. Losing him tonight was a big blow, and we don't know when he's going to be back. So that was a really big blow. What do you all think? Let's move on to more statements here. Let me see. You're saying that Shedeur doesn't move around the pocket. The pocket was collapsing around him, sir. So there were times when he was looking down the field to get the ball down the field, and he was trying to move, but the pocket was collapsing. There's nothing a quarterback can do if he's looking down the field. He's not looking to scramble and run, but he's looking to get the ball to his receivers, and the offensive line doesn't give him enough time, and the pocket collapses around him. Come on now. A direct impact to Shedeur is the lack of the offensive line giving him time. Now, you saw in the second half where Shedeur was able to make a few plays here and there, getting the ball down the field as he had some time. We've seen this time and time again. When you give him time, he can do anything with that football. You don't have time. He doesn't have time. He's going to have some problems. Should he moved around here and there? There's a lot of arguments that you can make about that, sir. There's certainly a lot of things that you can say, sir, that I can give you credit on for what you're saying, but we just got to see. We just got to see. El Hombre Negro says Colorado got whipped. Yeah, they got their ass whipped. That's a fact. They got whipped.
Tell the truth.
They got whipped. Let's just tell it like it is. And hopefully Coach Prime and the coaching staff will get in there, you know what, over these next few days, tomorrow, do whatever they got to do to get these guys motivated for CSU. They're getting ready to play Colorado State at Colorado State, and you know that's not going to be a little pushover game because I'm sure those guys at CSU want to get a get back after what happened a year ago in Boulder. Let's go into Landon. Let's see. You have Meta. Yep. Oh my God. Right. So many things went wrong. You had Meta, who kicked the ball low last week, and he was lucky he didn't get blocked. He kicks the ball low this week, and Nebraska blocks the ball. That hurt us. Everything on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, on both sides of the ball, we were not playing on full cylinder. Special teams, defensive issues with the defensive line, within the tackles, whether they were running up the middle. penalties, time of possession issues, pass interference on guys. Basically, at the end of the day, it was undisciplined football. And that's the truth.
Tell the truth.
That's just the truth. I'm not going to sit up here and tonight and lie. Professor A say Meta looked like he fell off. Well, once again, it was one game. He didn't do what he did against North Dakota State. Hopefully he can regroup mentally and he can get back into the laboratory at CU and get himself ready to play better against CSU. Let's hope that this is possible. Let me see. Okay, so Raider CU Joe Raider said recruit and develop. That's what Colorado's got to do. They have to recruit and develop. Right. Most of the players that they've got come through the transfer portal. But you've got to get guys that you recruit who grow up in your system. They adapt to your system. They grow, you develop them, and they get better. And they're dogs. I think Coach Prime and CU has relied very heavily on the transfer portal. I understand they lost some players last year, so they had to do what they had to do. But I absolutely agree with you. They've got to do more development of players that come through their system out of high school. Jordan Seaton is one of them. Let's not act like Jordan Seaton is an example of a freshman that they're trying to develop. Another thing I want to ask you guys tonight is BJ Green. Where is BJ Green? In the first two games of the season, he has not been, how can I say? His presence has not been as strong in terms of an impact. Listen to what I'm saying. He did not make, this is a guy that Coach Prime and everybody said could be an NFL caliber draft pick, right? He came over from Arizona State. He did not make a powerful impact against North Dakota State. And we didn't see any impact in tonight's game. And I'm just wondering what's going on with his status. Did he even play much tonight? Anybody in the chat room, can you please tell me what is the status of this man? Can you all please tell me what is the status? Let's go into the chat room and find out what the status is. Let's speak about the status. Does anybody know what the status of BJ Green is? Check down where not hit enough. He hits Dallin on check downs in the work. The check downs, yeah. Check downs are not going to get it. Check downs are not going to get it. Digital Communist says, be real. It's a team of mediocrity proportions. I wouldn't say that. I disagree with you. I wouldn't say that. Martin came in and says there's trash coaching. They're always preaching about practice, how you play, but they don't allow players to tackle and fully block at practice. There goes your results. I'm not sure about that. And there might be, everybody, you got to keep this in mind. Just like in the NFL, I still want people to tell me about the status of BJ Green, who I have on here. I want to know his status. You got to realize this, just like in the NFL, there might be rules about how often you can hit in practice. There could be some rules where you can only hit for so many hours or so long. And I think also you don't want guys to get hurt in practice, even though we know you got to practice hard to be prepared for the game. Maybe there's a concern about if that is what's going on, that you don't want guys getting hurt, key guys getting hurt and being out for the season. I don't know. Maybe the NCAA has a rules about when you can go full blast like that. I don't know. Somebody tell me. He played. Remember, he got the roughing, the pass penalty. Right. But what I'm saying, brother Eddie Pearson, impact, like, tackles. Let me go ahead and do this. This is what I'm going to do. Hopefully I've got him on here. What I'm saying by impact, like, did he do anything like get a sack, get some serious tackles? Because Brother Cameron Craig, he got 11 tackles in this game, right? DJ McKinney, the cornerback, he had a little bit of a rough night, but he managed to get about, 8 tackles, 7 solo tackles. Hill Green, I think Hill Green had 7 tackles. 7 tackles, 5 solo. Levante Bentley had 5 tackles, 3 solos. Hayes had 4 tackles, 4 solos. Travis Hunter had 3 tackles, 1 solo. I don't think that BJ Green has made his impact quite yet. The safety, G Bear, who was talking that talk, he got 6 tackles, 3 solos. Isaac, who was their top-notch safety for Nebraska, got 6 tackles and 2 solos. And John Bullock, which is one of their linebackers, had 5 tackles, 4 solos. But I don't think, sir, that you said he got that penalty, which didn't help us. But I don't know if BJ Green, I'm not trying to write him off or anything like that. I think BJ Green will eventually come on. But in the last 2 games, he didn't make any impact. There's no plays where you can say, wow, he got that sack. Wow, he made a big stop. Wow, he's got like 11 tackles in this game. He's got, 11 tackles, 12 tackles, 8 tackles. He was flying all over the place, right? His name was being called quite a bit. Didn't happen in the first game. And we didn't hear his name being called that much in his second game until he got, unfortunately, that penalty. That's all I'm saying. Hang on, folks. Let me grab my water for a minute. All right, I'm back, everybody. I forgot to bring my water over to my studio area where I'm at. All right, everybody, I'm back. I forgot to bring my water over to my studio area, but let's go back into the chat room. I want some answers here, folks. I want some answers. El Humbre Negro says he needs water. Some water. Yeah, I need some water. Let's see what folks are saying. Possibly injury this game. Thank you for that. Higgins, Nebraska brought in some dogs and already had solid chemistry. Yeah, they I'm not taking anything away from Nebraska. They played a hell of a game. They deserve to have won this game playing the way they did. And I got to say this, if CU continues to play like this, it's going to be a long season. And when you play like that, you do deserve to lose the game. It's just that That's just the facts.
Tell the truth.
That's just the facts. There's no way of getting around it. Jersey Fishing says this offensive line had been together for years. See, I'm glad you said that. What did I say earlier in this podcast? When you bring an offensive line together, you piece it together with different guys. When it comes to football, the offensive line, when you piece it together with different people coming over, as CU did, it takes longer than any position on a football team for the offensive line to gel and be able to work as one unit. You just said that Nebraska's offensive line has been together for a number of years. That means that they know each other's tendencies. They understand how to get out of bad situations. They know how to audible in bad situations to get out of it. They know how to deal with the crowd noise because they both have been they've all been working with each other as one heartbeat, one unit, one drum. And this is maybe where CU may struggle with this new addition of players who have to still learn each other in jail, not just in practice, but in the games. But I'm going to say this to all of you again. I don't think that this offensive line, even though they gave up a lot of sacks, how many sacks does Shedeur get? Let me see this. How many sacks? How many times did Shedeur get sacked tonight? How many sacks on Shedeur today? Let me see this right here. Let's open this up. Six. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for that. All right. They gave up 6 sacks. Last week, they gave up only 1 sack. But last week, they didn't go up against a defensive line or a team, but is with the type of defense that Nebraska had. Nebraska was a 7-deep defensive team. Nebraska was one of the best run-stopping defenses in the country just a year ago. And a lot of their guys from last year came back this year. So they have been together. They have worked together over a period of time. 6 sacks is not acceptable. We should not be giving up 6 sacks and putting Shedeur in these situations where he has to throw the ball under duress like this and expect that you're going to win football games as you start playing the more better teams. It's just not going to work. I'm sorry. I'm being honest tonight over here. Nebraska's defense is a monster. That's what Marcus, I hope I'm saying the name right. Marcus says this. The Nebraska D was, they were a monster. Nobody's going to deny that. No. We're not going to deny that. Brother Smile says, I agree. They need a momentum on all camera, a moratorium on all cameras, even Bucky, foam, and no personal social. So let me let's ask this question again. This is interesting. So the position that you take is that, wow. Let me fix something with my, the position that you take is that no more cameras with Bucky. No more, put a moratorium on cameras and all the hype from, showing stuff. Do you think that they need to take a moratorium from that? Do you think this week, as they prepared for CSU, everybody, that there shouldn't be any video footage put out there? They should just close practice to all fanfare and cameras and get back to work. How many of you agree with that that assessment. Wow, this is a hell of a statement right here. Let me see. What do you think is in the NFL? Well, you got in the NFL, you got dogs in the NFL. But even in the NFL, if you don't protect a quarterback, they're going to take punishment. You've had some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL that when their offensive line didn't play well, they took punishment. If that's what you're trying to say. If that's what you're trying to say. Let's see. OG says they didn't even double team block that monster on Nebraska's defensive line. Yeah, that was Nash, 330-pound Nash. Then you got Ty Robinson, who's 310 pounds. That guy Nash, he's going to be an NFL defensive tackle. He's going to be in the NFL. Those guys were on the team last year. I spoke about that in my pre video about how those are key guys they need to watch out for. This guy Nash. And he was effective. He made a play or two. I mean, he made some plays. He plugged up the middle of that defense against CU. He gave them trouble. I'm not happy about it, but it's the truth. Why? J2 James says they have nothing to lose by getting rid of the cameras. No, they don't. Now, the only people that lose would be us because we wouldn't be able to, get a chance to see what's going on, right? We would lose out, but they would not lose out. I think that's a legitimate thing to say that maybe, just maybe, cameras need to go away for this week. Take away the hype machine and let's just focus on basic football. I'm going to say it again. Another problem that I witnessed tonight that disturbed me during this game is that there were a lot of missed tackles. There were guys that were breaking tackles, shredding through them. There were guys that didn't wrap guys up. There was a lot of grab finger tackling, meaning trying to grab them with your fingers and hand. We need guys to wrap these. Need to wrap guys up. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. Did you witness that tonight? Did you see that tonight, as I did, that there was issues with tackling? Jersey Fishing says it's not just the 300-pound linemen. Those 300-pound linemen clear the way for the linebackers. Right. Jersey Fishing, I made that same statement in my pre-video to this game today, that if they don't deal with those big tackles up front, those big tackles allow the linebackers to shoot the gaps, the linebackers to blitz, the linebackers to cut inside and cause havoc. But I got to say this again. I'm going to say this again. CU was running a lot of man-to-man defense. And I want to put this up here again. Matt Rule said, it was said today that Matt Rule said that if CU wants to play man-to-man defense against us, then we're going to force them to match up against our guys, and we're going to try to get the ball down the field against them. None of their receivers, whether it be Banks, Isaiah, or even Thomas Fado, none of them got over 100 yards receiving. None of them really shredded us up. I think that speaks to the secondary in their matchups. But what was hurting was the lack of good tackling. And even though they were able to keep the receivers of Nebraska from running up large numbers, I can't help but say to you all listening tonight, or this morning for some of you, should see you mix it up with more zone coverages where they can do these elaborate blitzes and do more elaborate stuff that's more creative. Should they mix it up with some blitz, some man-to-man coverage, and then some zone coverage? Should they mix it up? I think they played man-to-man most of the night, and I think there should have been times when they should have played some zone coverage. Zone coverage is good when you also have a scrambling quarterback that can get out. And you saw tonight that Dillon, on a few occasions in the beginning of the game, was able to sort of, move around very comfortably. He looked very comfortable tonight, Dillon. Obviously, Shedeur looked very uncomfortable, to say the least. What are your thoughts, everybody? Tony, the driver, says the quarterback needs to run more. You're saying Shedeur needs to run more, or should they run the ball more? Specify that a little bit, sir. Maurice Johnson says his offensive line had him clean. His offensive line had him clean. Yeah, you talking about Dillon of Nebraska. Yeah, he was clean. But he didn't have to do a lot of work. You notice Dillon didn't have to do a lot of work because his team was in command of this game from start to finish. So he didn't have to make the spectacular throw. He didn't have to scramble around too much. Nickelback quarterback could have had a MB quarterback. Nebraska's quarterback, Dillon, could have had a date and then passed. Oh, goodness. Cleveland Dixon comes in and says, nah, it doesn't matter if cameras are there or not. It's about coaching, and Prime is the head coach. If that's Nick Saban or Urban Meyer, would they play like that? Well, see, that's a very interesting statement that you left there, sir. Let me ask you this question, because you bring up a very, very good statement here. Would you say that Urban Meyer, this is not an excuse what I'm about to say, but this is facts. Would you say that Urban Meyer with Urban Meyer with Florida that he won championships with, I think he won at least 2 championships with Tim Tebow there, right? Would you say that Nick Saban, who won a gang of championships at Alabama, would you say that both those coaches, when they were coaching their teams, I hate to say what I'm about to say, but it has to be said. Don't you think that they might have had players in their system that they recruited from high school, that they developed, and Alabama plays in the SEC where they're able to recruit some of the best defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and skill position players in the country. Same thing at Florida when Urban Meyer was there, when Urban Meyer was at Ohio State as well. Those schools were able to recruit. This is before the days of the transfer portal. They were able to recruit and get the best players because they were the best teams in football, and they were always ranked. And both Alabama and Florida had a reputation. They were a brand, a reputation for winning. Coach Prime, for all intensive purposes, sir, I just want to ask you this question. Coach Prime, for all intensive purposes, has taken over a program that was in the dumps for decades, a program that had a brand that did not have any value to it, a place where nobody wanted to play. No big-time recruit was coming to see you, right? They weren't selling out the stadium like they're selling it out now, right? They didn't have a quarterback the caliber of Deion Sanders. They haven't had a quarterback at Colorado since Cornell Stewart. I remember I'm 54 years old. Cornell Stewart is retired from the NFL. He's been long gone. They haven't had a guy of his caliber in years. So Coach Prime took over a football program that was in the dumps, a football program that had no cachet, no reputation, not a place that most high school kids would want to come and play, versus Urban Meyer and Nick Saban, who took over, who were coaching a football dynasty teams that already have a brand, already have a reputation, already are places where players want to play. Both of them play in conferences that are desirable to high school kids, such as the SEC. So I have to say that, sir, as food for thought to the statement that you left. Good statement, though. You're making a good point there. Let's continue. Let's see. Higgins says he don't step back. He's in the shotgun formation. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Who are you talking about? About who? What is this a discussion that you're having with someone in the chat room? Let me know. Cornell. Thanks. Yeah. Cornell Stewart. Brother Smile. Yeah. Brother Smile. Yeah. Cornell Stewart. And, Tony Driver. Let me see who else we got here. I'm going to get ready to probably end the program pretty soon, everybody. Let me see. Jersey Fishing says you're not wrong. Checkdowns were open. I'm saying he did not even have time to see his checkdowns. He didn't have time to look further. Right. And this is why he didn't have time. This is football, everybody. When you're playing when you're playing with these type of downs, you're playing 2nd and 15, 2nd and 13, 3rd and 15. Now you're playing way behind the chains, and your receivers have to run deeper into their routes to get past the chains, which means you got to hold on to the ball longer to give them time to get into deeper routes because you're so far away from the chains that therefore you hold on to the ball longer. Now you got a pocket collapsing around you because your offensive linemen are not able to hold up against the pressure. And now while you're looking, you're getting crushed in the pocket. El Hombre. Woo, excuse me, folks. Excuse me. El Hombre says still football. Yeah, still football. Still football. Yeah. Jersey Fishing says one step and get out. You have to get the route time to develop. Right. But you see, do you guys realize that when Shador is playing his game, and they said it tonight, he does 5-step. He does what they call he does a 5-step drop back before he throws. So when he's in that shotgun formation, because they're doing the spread offense, he's dropping back 5 steps as well to give time and timing to the passing play. That requires the offensive line to buy him time. And what we saw tonight, it didn't happen. Okay, it's just that simple. This is the schedule right now. They've got Colorado State, they got Baylor, they got UCF, they got Kansas State, where they're going to meet against Dylan Edwards, who's been playing well for Kansas State. They're going to go against Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah, who played today, Kansas, Oklahoma State. They got to take one game at a time. Take it one game at a time. They need to regroup. I think they need to do this, is what I'm saying. They need to regroup, still believe, don't have doubt, don't panic. It's one game. Learn from the game, study the tape, look at the tape, look at their mistakes, where they blew it. Look at those videos to see what they can improve on, study the mistakes, understand that cannot happen in a game against CSU, And it cannot happen throughout the course of the season. They're going to have to play better football, and they're going to have to match the intensity of the team that they're going against. You can't play down to the competition. Last week, they played down a little bit to North Dakota State, but because they were still a better team, they were able to rise above it, make a significant adjustments in the second half, come out in that second half and take over that game, and eventually score, make plays when he needed to.
Tell the truth.
I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. Let's go back into the chat room. Jersey, great point. Yeah, Jersey's making good points tonight. David Wilson said they are not ready to play with the big boys. They are too little. No, they got CU's got some bigger guys on the team this year. Well, let me say this. Let's like once again, I want to keep it to football. Where on the football team, David Wilson, where on the football team are they too small? Since you made that statement, tell me before I end this show tonight, where are they too small on the football team? Which area? Coach Prime is always preaching film. If they watch film, they should know they should have known that number 9, which would be Trey Robinson, number 0, which is I know who number 0 is. That's Nash for Nebraska. That they should have known that number 9 and number 0 were a problem, and they need to put together a game plan to help Shedeur with them. I agree with you.
Tell the truth.
I agree with everything that you just said. Everything you just said is facts. Jersey Fishing is putting facts in out there tonight. I agree with him. El Hombre Negro says, watch film. It helps. Yeah, you got to watch film. That's why, what's our man, Kamani McLean's not here because, well, Coach Prime said he wasn't coming to practice on time and he wasn't watching film like he was supposed to. They got to study the film. They got to study the film. Another thing that I'm going to read to you guys that I thought gave CU some problems was the defense that they were playing, that Nebraska was playing. I give you a comprehensive show here, everybody. Did you notice tonight that Nebraska was playing the same defense they played a year ago? They were playing a 3-3-5 defense, which is a American football defense alignment that consists of 3 defensive linemen, right? 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. It's also known as the 3-3 stack defense or the spread defense, ladies and gentlemen. It's the defense that you want to play when you're going up against a team that plays a spread offense, because this is why Nebraska plays that defense, probably because so many teams in the Big 12 run a spread offense. Just like Robert Livingston wants to play a 4-2-5 defense as a way to combat these teams that spread you out. I think that Nebraska's 3-3-5 defense is very interesting. I think it's very, very interesting what they were able to do with that. The characteristics of a 3-3-5 defense is one gap. Listen to this, folks. The one gap defense, each defensive lineman is responsible for the running lane, which is why you need to have 2 strong defensive tackles or nose guards to take up space, to take up a double team, to force the offensive linemen to have to double team these big guys so that the linebackers can shoot the gaps. One gap defense. Each defensive lineman is responsible for the running lane. Okay? Head up technique. Linemen don't telegraph which gap they're going to attack. The nose tackle lines up over the center, but they disguise it because they're not going to tell you exactly which gap they're going to hit. That's what the 3-3-5 defense that Nebraska ran against Colorado was doing out there tonight. That was affecting what Shador, Coach Prime, and what they were trying to do tonight. Like I said, I give you a comprehensive show. I try to break it down. I try to give you everything that makes sense. I hope that you appreciate the program tonight. Here's Shador working out. He's going to have to get back into the laboratory and get ready for CSU next week. I got to admit, Matt Rule and his coaching staff, they called a hell of a game. You got to give them credit. I'm sure Coach Prime said that you got to give him credit. This young man right here is going to have a great future in Nebraska. I don't think he did anything significant to threaten CU tonight. I don't think he was a world beater as a quarterback tonight, but he didn't have to be because of what CU was doing to shoot themselves in the foot with turning the ball over, making bad mistakes, playing outside of a disciplined mindset, missing tackles, just not playing focused football, unfortunately, at this time. Ed has come back in. He says, this is where the intelligent conversation takes place. We are thankful for it. Thank you, brother. I'm going to have to end the show. We try to have, that's why I repeat over and over again. When you come over to this channel and you participate in the chat room, get away from this emotional talk. Get away from the whole, Coach Prime is all this negative talk. Focus on football. Make talk football. Because I can respect that better. Even if you're criticizing CU or whatever's going on, if you keep it to football, it's more intelligent. It's more, because people, when they see this video, they're going to appreciate it more that we're talking intelligently about this game and about the ills of what was happening with CU out there tonight. And why it's good to talk football, because people can learn what they need to do to improve. El Hombre Negro says, right, let's see how Nebraska quarterback does against the Big Ten competition. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, there's some teams out there that Darren is going to have to contend with, and he's going to be tested. He is going to be tested. That's for sure. Brother Smile says, he says the backup quarterback put his foot to work when he knew the line is trash. Nebraska has a good freshman quarterback, right? Yeah, they do. I'm not denying that this young man that you just came in here and said something about, Darren, we're not saying that he ain't good. No, I'm just saying because CU made so many mistakes to literally give this game away, he didn't have to do any heroics. Darren didn't have to do anything out of the ordinary to win this game for his team because the defense was the heart of Nebraska tonight against CU. I'm just being honest about it. Higgins says he's a freshman, folks. He beat Shador, plain and simple. Show respect. Well, we're not. There's nobody. I'm not giving him any disrespect. Let me see. David Wilson says they got exposed. Clamp Hunter down. They clamp Hunter down and pass rush Sanders. Coach Prime needs to run sweeps and reverse plays. I would agree.
Tell the truth.
Get that young man, D. Miller, involved more. Yeah. Jersey, they came in with a bit of a big hit coming off a 500-yard performance, and they didn't give attention to number 9, number 0. They're going to be prepared. I think they're going to be. You're going to see. I believe we're going to see a different team next week. Dixon came in and says Colorado has some good running backs. Figure out how to use them. Yeah, they should. Bush, let me see. Blitz Shador is the game plan. Yeah, to blitz Shador. That's a no-brainer. That's the plan. I think for any quarterback that you go up against, you want to put pressure on. That's a no-brainer. Brother Smile says, where is the next Travis Hunter, the next Shador? Why didn't Prime snatch 3 more big names in the offseason? We just have to see. I mean, like I said, he's trying to get Juju. They were trying to get Juju. Juju still hasn't made a decision yet whether he's going to go to Auburn or USC. I think USC has moved on from him. I'm not sure. You guys let me know. Let's get ready to get out of here, everybody. It's been great tonight. It's been great. I appreciate everybody for coming over. I'm glad that I was able to read some of these messages that you put in the chat room. We got Diane Brown says they will be better next game. I think Miss Diane Brown, thank you for coming over. I think they will be better next week. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to play better. They're going up against CSU. And thank you for that positive statement that you just put in the chat room. Hopefully they can get things going next week. I think Coach Prime, I can say this for sure. I think the players on CU, I think they're more disciplined. I think they're disappointed in themselves. They're more disciplined in themselves than we are disciplined. Let me say this correctly. I think they're more disappointed. Let me correct how I'm saying that. I'm just tired, folks. That's why I'm saying my words wrong. I think they're more disappointed than even we are. I really believe this, that they are disappointed and that they're going to come out and show a better showing next week against CSU, because I'm sure the coaches are going to be in their ear all this week. Coach Prime's going to be in their ass all this week. And I think they're going to be on top of each other all this week saying, we got to play better than this. This is not who we are. So let's just see how it all pans out. And thank you for coming through like that. Let me see here. Dixon says the NIL has made it difficult. You've got to pay these players now. I know it's like the NFL. It's crazy. You got to pay them. Yeah, you got to pay them. And it does make it different. Why do you think Nick Saban got out of football? Remember, Nick Saban left Alabama the minute they entered this transfer portal in the NIL. The minute that came a part of the game, Nick Saban got the hell out of Dodge. That's the truth.
Tell the truth.
Colorado hasn't covered the spread in 2 weeks in a row. Back-to-back rivalry, losing would be tough. Yeah, it would be tough. We don't want to see that happen. Facts. NIL defeated Nick Saban. Thank you. I know that I was telling the truth. I knew I was telling the truth. Thank you. Yeah, Nick Saban knew that the writing was on the wall for him. That's why he got out. So, in terms of the way this climate of college football is, where you got to play the players, you got this whole NIL, you got to be able to outbid the other schools. You got to be able to promise these kids all these things and be able to win and give. It's like this. You got to give them NIL money. You got to be able to win to keep them to stay there. You got to give them the attention that they want, which is playing time, so that they don't transfer somewhere. It's Wild Wild West. I suspect that the NCAA is going to do something about it and do some regulations. I suspect they're going to change some things to this whole system to make it more reasonable. But keep this in mind: for years and years and years and years, the NCAA has been making money off these kids by giving them no money, The schools have been making tons of money off these young men over the years. So it's kind of like it's kind of like the hens have come home to roost, is what you're seeing here for college football in the state that it's in right now. Nick Saban called it tonight. Let me see right here. What did Nick Saban say about the game tonight? Jersey Fishing says Nick Saban called it tonight. He said CU would lose because of the trenches, not the skilled players. Yeah. The trenches is where they did. Yeah, I believe that's true. That the trenches is where they lost this game. And that's really the heart of the football team. You win and lose games in the trenches of your defensive line and your offensive line. He's right.
Tell the truth.
Well, everybody, I'm about to get on out of here. Ed, thank you for coming over, brother. Yeah, like I said on the thumbnail, they got to regroup. Like you said, rebuild and regroup. We still believe. We still believe, everybody. That's right. I still believe. Brother Ed, take care of yourself, man. I'm about to get on out of here. I really appreciate you all for coming over and being a part of what we got going on over here. So what can I say, everybody? Everybody take care. Share this video and do me the biggest favor tonight or even tomorrow, whenever you can, or now, if you got if you got Twitter or X, if you got Facebook, and you're looking at me on your desktop, you're looking at this program, should I say, on your desktop, your laptop, your tablet, whatever, hit the little button that says share and share this to your Twitter, your X, or your Facebook right now, or whatever social media that you use. Share it with people that like football, that follow CU. Share it and share it alike. I really appreciate that. I really, really do. I also would like to say this. I always do this. This is very important. Go ahead and do this. I want to say thank you for watching this late night. Like and comment on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you can. We would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it if you want more videos like this, definitely subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Remember, when you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification fully. Put it on all so that you get all notifications when I go live or when I put up an uploaded video. And I appreciate you again.